The roots of the modern PGA Tour stretch back to April 10, 1916, when the Professional Golfers Association of America, PGA, was formed. By 1916, several prestigious golf tournaments offering prize money to the winner had been established in America, including the North and South Open, the Metropolitan Open, the Shawnee Open, the Western Open and the National Championship, the US Open. They formed the initial schedule of what came to be known much later as the PGA Tour, with the addition of the PGA Championship in 1916. The Open Championship in the UK, the oldest golf tournament in the world founded in 1860, would become a PGA Tour event much later in 1995. All Open Championship wins dating back to 1860 were retroactively recognized as PGA Tour victories in 2002. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, various state open tournaments began, many organized by sections of the PGA. Tournaments recognized as PGA Tour wins from this era include the California Open, Connecticut Open, Florida Open, New York State Open, Ohio Open, Oklahoma Open, Pennsylvania Open Championship, Utah Open, Virginia Open and the Wisconsin State Open. The legacy of these Opens lives on with the modern PGA Tour, with the Valero Texas Open that dates back to this era of state opens on the tour. The tour, then known informally as the Circuit for Professional Golfers in the PGA, became more formalized in 1929. A tournament committee was formed, consisting of Tommy Armour, Al Espinosa and J.J. Patterson. In 1930, Bob Harlow was hired as manager of the PGA Tournament Bureau and worked to formalize a year-round schedule of tournaments. With an increase of revenue in the late 1960s due to expanded television coverage, a dispute arose between the touring professionals and the PGA of America on how to distribute the windfall. The tour players wanted larger purses, where the PGA desired the money to go to the general fund to help grow the game at the local level. Following the final major in July 1968 at the PGA Championship, several leading tour pros including top players Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player and Arnold Palmer voiced their dissatisfaction with the venue and the abundance of club pros in the field. The increased friction resulted in a new entity in August, what would eventually become the PGA Tour. Tournament players formed their own organization, American Professional Golfers Incorporated, APG, independent of the PGA of America. Its headquarters were in New York City. After several months, a compromise was reached in December. The tour players agreed to abolish the APG and form the PGA Tournament Players Division, a fully autonomous division under the supervision of a new 10-member tournament policy board. The board consisted of 4 tour players, 3 PGA of America executives, and 3 outside members, initially business executives. Joseph Day, the recently retired USPGA executive director, was selected by the board as the tour's first commissioner in January 1969 and agreed to a 5-year contract. He was succeeded by tour player Dean Beman in early 1974, who served for 20 years. The name officially changed to the PGA Tour in 1975. In 1978 the PGA Tour removed its restrictions on women. However, no women have joined the tour since this date. In late August 1981, the PGA Tour had a marketing dispute with the PGA of America and officially changed its name to the TPA Tour, for the Tournament Players Association. The disputed issues were resolved within 7 months and the tour's name was changed back to the PGA Tour in March 1982. Without the tour players, the PGA of America became primarily an association of club professionals, but retained control of 2 significant events, the PGA Championship and the Ryder Cup. The former was an established major championship, but the latter was an obscure match play team event which was not particularly popular with golf fans, due to predictable dominance by the United States. With the addition of players from continental Europe in 1979 and expanded television coverage, it became very competitive and evolved into the premier international team event, lately dominated by Europe. Both events are very important revenue streams for the PGA of America. Tim Fincham became the third commissioner in June 1994 and continued for over 22 years. In November 1994 the first serious challenge surfaced when Greg Norman proposed a World Golf Tour. The tour would consist of 8 no-cut events featuring 40 players with larger purses played all round the world. Norman had all the financials in place and an agreed television deal with an American network. Upon hearing of the threat, Commissioner Fincham declared anyone who played in these rival events would be banned from the PGA Tour, but unfazed Norman pressed ahead with his plans and presented the whole project to players at his Shark Shootout event. At the end of the presentation, Arnold Palmer, who helped instigate the breakaway from the PGA of America in the late 1960s to form the PGA Tour, spoke up against the plan, which resulted in players leaving the meeting. This left Norman feeling hurt and bitter against the PGA Tour, and this would have ramifications 27 years later. In August 1996 the landscape of professional golf changed forever when Eldrick Tiger Woods turned pro. Tiger's emergence as the world's top sportsman brought a huge influx of interest to the game and money to the PGA Tour and its players. In 1997, right after Tiger won the Masters, the PGA Tour signed a $400 million 4-year broadcasting agreement with multiple American networks. The Tiger Woods era shaped the game that we know today, and the PGA Tour and its players have benefited hugely from his impact on the game. On January 1, 2017, Tim Fincham was succeeded by Jay Monahan as commissioner of the tour. In June 2022, the PGA Tour suspended 17 players who played in the inaugural LIV Golf Invitational Series event. Monahan wrote in a memo to the tour's membership that any players that take part in future LIV Golf events will be subjected to the same punishment. PGA Tour members that joined LIV Golf included major champions Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Patrick Reed, Dustin Johnson, and Phil Mickelson. On July 11, 2022, it was reported that the U.S. Department of Justice was investigating the PGA Tour to determine if they engaged in anti-competitive behavior with LIV Golf. In late 2021, the PGA Tour began speaking with White House officials and members of Congress to express concerns over LIV Golf. The tour has paid over $400,000 to the firm DLA Piper to lobby lawmakers on their behalf for various topics, including LIV Golf proposals. The tour had previously been investigated in the early 1990s, but despite tour policies having been found to be in violation of antitrust laws, no further action was taken. In August 2022, 11 players who had joined LIV Golf filed an antitrust lawsuit against the PGA Tour to challenge their suspensions. 3 players failed to obtain a temporary restraining order to allow them to participate in the FedEx Cup playoffs. The trial for the main case was scheduled to begin in September 2023. On June 6, 2023, the PGA Tour, PGA European Tour, and LIV Golf announced that they would enter into a framework agreement to merge their commercial rights into a single, for-profit entity. The Saudi Public Investment Fund, which funded LIV Golf, will initially serve as the exclusive investor in the entity and have right of first refusal for future investments, while the PGA Tour will appoint the majority of its board members and have its commissioner Jay Monahan act as CEO. The agreement does not impact the 3 entities' administrative oversight over their events, hence the PGA Tour as a sanctioning entity will remain a 501c6 non-profit organization. The agreement ends all pending litigation between the organizations, and there are plans for a fair and objective process to readmit players blacklisted by the PGA Tour for defecting to LIV. The announcement was met with shock from players, who did not learn of the agreement until it was officially announced, with media outlets describing them as having felt betrayed by the decision. Rumors are widely reporting that at the time of publishing this video an agreement is far away. Bloomberg reported that the 31st of December deadline will be pushed back into 2024 to give more time to try and find a definitive agreement to bring professional golf back together. For now, the future of professional golf and structure of the PGA Tour remains uncertain.